Hi everybody. So the title of this video I think will be a safer alternative to corn chips. But I don't eat corn chips. There was a time I just gave up anything that's like fried. So if I cook anything, I never cook anything higher than boiling temperature. So corn chips, obviously, those are fried. Those would be cooked much higher than boiling temperature. But here's the deal. So this is something I invented myself, and I had it last night and earlier today. I had some. I cooked a batch of this, but so when I was younger, I did eat corn chips every now and then, and also potato chips, which is another thing I don't eat anymore because those are also fried in hot oil that is higher than boiling temperature. But here's something I have done. I just did it, like I said, last night, and yeah, and also what I meant was like after midnight. October 8th, I had it, and then later in the day on October 8th. But today is October the 9th, and it's a little after 2 a.m. in the morning, so this is now Wednesday. But got in a really nice workout, just finished a little while ago, so that's going well. And conditions are cooling off nicely here. But back onto this. So what I do is I do four different things, but you can narrow it down to less or even just one ingredient as far as what your corn is. So I use grits. White grits is the one I'm choosing, but you can buy different brands of white grits. For example, you can get some from Bob's Red Mill or Quaker grits. I get the old-fashioned kind. Like if you get Quaker, you have the quick grits or the instant grits on one hand, or the old-fashioned ones on the other. So I get some of that. So I put a little bit of that in there, and then I add some Bob's Red Mill coarse grind yellow cornmeal. Okay, that's exactly as I said it. So if you want to search online for that, that's also in stores, depending on where you live. Some stores, like you'll just have to figure that out. But again, it's Bob's Red Mill, yellow cornmeal. And then third one is I get this from a company called War Eagle Mill, and I believe these are both organic, but it's a stone ground whole grain white cornmeal and also stone ground whole grain blue cornmeal. So those are the four ingredients. You don't have to have, like, you could just have the yellow coarse grind cornmeal as your only ingredient, or you could add a little bit of grits, of the white grits, to kind of balance that up. And then, like I said, the white and the blue whole grain, because see, the grits are degerminated, so that's not the whole corn. They take the germ has the oils and the protein, more of the oils and the protein in it, but you still get a decent amount of fiber with the grits. I just have some grits in there for fun. But so I have these four corn products in there. Again, it's the like I use Quaker old-fashioned white grits, but you could get some from Bob's Red Mill, the white grits, and those are degerminated. Everything else is the whole grain. So then Bob's Red Mill yellow coarse grind yellow cornmeal meal. I get the mixed. Mix something up there. So Bob's Red Mill coarse grind yellow cornmeal. That's a stone ground whole grain product. And then, like I said, War Eagle Mill. I think they're in Arkansas or Missouri. They have. They also have some white cornmeal and some white grits. I mean, yellow cornmeal and some white grits. But what I used. So they're stone ground whole grain white cornmeal and stone ground whole grain blue cornmeal. So if you want to know, did I have this all in a 1-to-1 to 1-to-1 ratio, like 25% of each kind? And the answer is I could have, but I didn't. So it was closer to that, but it wasn't. So I had more blue than anything else. And then I had decent amounts of the white cornmeal and the white grits, and then a little bit less of the yellow cornmeal. So in this one, the least used product was the yellow cornmeal, and the most used product was the blue cornmeal, and then the white grits and the white cornmeal were somewhere in between. So I mixed it all together in a bowl, microwave plastic bowl, microwavable, and stirred in some water. So with this, you should have, because this stuff really, really expands up. It's like rice or pasta, it absorbs a lot of water, and it'll get really overly thick and lumpy, and you won't be able to work with it. So I would have at least, as you eyeball it by line of sight estimation, have it about half of it is after it's soaked up the water. You just keep adding more. You have half of it, the cornmeal and the grits, the cornmeals and the grits, and half as much water. So if you look at the depth of it, it'll be halfway up cornmeal, fully soaked with the water, and then like if it's 1 inch deep of cornmeal, then there's a second inch deep on top of that of water. So it'll be 2 inches deep. And that's after you let all that, and then you stir it around really well. So all these 4 corn products are mixed together really well. And again, you don't have to have 4 different corn products. You can have just 1, 2, 3, or 4, whatever you want to do. You can have 5 if you have a 5th one you like to add. You got the general idea. So, and also the ratios don't have to be what I said, what I use for mine. You can have it all equal amounts or any kind of ratios you want. So then I microwaved mine for 3 minutes, and then I stirred it. You have to take it out carefully because it's a little bit more solidified on the bottom, and then the top is watery so it can spill off. So you take it out of the microwave carefully and don't burn your fingers. And then you stir it, and you take it out right away. Don't leave it sitting in there when the microwaving is stopped, because then it'll solidify and get really lumpy and harder to work with. But you stir it around, and it's still really kind of mashy, smooth, really stirrable, because you added enough water from the beginning and you stirred it all together with the water really well. And then put it in there. I put it in there for another 3 minutes and got in there, and really, it's getting really thick by that point. You have to kind of really stir it and work with it, and any lumps you kind of mash out with your spoon. And, and then after that, it's all stirred together really well. Then put it in there for another 2 minutes. And again, you pull it out right when the microwaving's done so it doesn't harden and you got a lot of hard lumpiness to it. But so then it's a total of 8 minutes. So 3-3-2 is what I did. Then you get that out and you stir it again and you smooth out all the lumps if you got any. So then I let it cool a bit, and then I add my oils. So I went online to see what's in corn chips. So most corn chips, I looked at a few different brands like Fritos and Great Value, that's Walmart's brand, but there are other generic type brands and also some other name brands, like whatever. And they all seem to have corn oil, which, by the way, is a very viscous oil, and I'll get into that. And then they had like sunflower or safflower. Maybe they had cottonseed oil, or I'm getting that mixed up with the potato chips. But generally, I use sunflower oil only, and the reason is the corn oil is a very viscous oil. So what viscosity means is sort of like thickness. And I'll give you an example. Like if you take olive oil, that's a really viscous oil. You put it in your refrigerator and it solidifies. I mean, it's not pourable. Like you turn it upside down and shake it and it won't come out. And coconut oil is even more viscous. So that can even be, depending on what your room temperature is, because room temperature can vary a bit. But in a cool room temperature, that's going to be hard. Like you poke your finger, it's solid. Now, really high room temperature, like maybe 80 degrees or higher, it'll start to get, more like buttery. So with coconut oil, if it's in a cold room and it's winter, you kind of have to heat that up a bit, or just rub it between your hands really vigorously to kind of, if you're putting some on your hands because your hands are dry. But so coconut oil, you put that in your refrigerator, that's really solid. But other oils like, like on the other end of the extreme would be sunflower, safflower, walnut oil. Those are really thin and runny. Those are low in viscosity. Put those in the fridge and they're still going to pour and be really runny. But so the thing about corn oil is it kind of leaves a resin behind. I don't know if you ever noticed that. So, and if you put a lot of that into your body, then it's going to leave a resin in your body, which will eventually digest and burn off. But I just, because corn products already have their own corn oil in them, I didn't do that. But again, this is, your own version of this. You just put whatever oils you want or whatever you have. But so then I put my oils in and kind of chopped that in and stirred that in and took my time and, mashed the oil through the lumps. And I got that really nice and oily. But I used just sunflower oil. But I could have used, you can get soybean oil, canola oil, peanut oil, corn oil. And if you want to get more extravagant, you can. There are many, many oils on the market. So then that was it. So it had everything. Now, I'm going to also explain why this is safer than corn chips. There are 3 reasons why it is. So the first one I mentioned, but basically you have all the ingredients that I would want, that is, and hopefully you would, that would be in the original corn chips. So you've got the oils that they were fried in, and you've got all the corn ingredients. So you've got that. Now, why it's safer? Remember I said I never cook anything above boiling point, so I don't fry my foods ever. Well, this isn't, so it's cooked at boiling point. It never reaches above boiling point. And then I also let it cool down before I add the oils in, because this way the oils never get superheated, not even by the hot cornmeal that had only reached boiling at its hottest. So that's the thing. When you superheat your oils, it damages and changes them. And I don't think it's as good for your body then when you take those into your body. So that's the first way it's safer, is the corn never reaches above boiling point, and the oils never get even anywhere near boiling point. So they're even much cooler. Second thing is you don't have to add any salt. So corn chips are notorious. Corn chips are notorious for being extremely salty. And, too much salt can create high blood pressure. You can always get plenty of salt. It's everywhere. But if you feel like you have to add salt to this, I wouldn't add much. But I never add salt to this. So, I did one time ever after, in whole time ever doing this, but it wasn't much. So you don't have to add any salt. So then you can have like a low sodium. It's like salt-free a corn chip substitute, right? So I guess this would be something like, some kind of a corn porridge with oils stirred in afterwards. It's not corn chips, but then the third way it's safer. Okay, so I talked about cooking temperature and that the oils don't get superheated, the third, and then low sodium. But there's another way it's safer, and that is, what was it? Let's see. Well, it's fresh. You cook it immediately, but that's not what it was. It's I'll see if I remember that later. But then also, when you're eating like corn, right, you should have something counterbalancing on the side. So I had some whole raw dry peas that I had just soaked and drained and refrigerated. Now, when I say whole raw dry peas, I don't mean split peas. I mean they're the same thing as split peas, but they've never been split. So these are the types of. This is a food product like. When you buy like a pound of dry beans, like navy beans, you could soak them and I guess theoretically sprout them if they're still fresh enough. But so these, you can't really get these very easily in stores anymore, but you can order them online. Just go search for whole raw dry peas. So I had some whole raw dry peas, and then later I had some raw peanuts on the side with the last of this that I had. So I add when I eat this, I eat a few spoonfuls of one, then maybe a few spoonfuls or handfuls of other, depending on whether it's the peas or the peanuts. But you could also have beans or lentils, something to counterbalance it. You should counterbalance your grains and legumes. So, I had that, and it was really, really good, nutritious. But the third reason why this is safer. You can regulate the sodium content, make it sodium-free or extremely low sodium. The oils don't get superheated. The corn never reaches above boiling point. And then there's a third reason why it's safer, but it just is. There's another reason, but I forgot what it was. But I'll put it in the comments if I remember. In the meantime, I'm trying to finish off this video. It's anyway. So thanks a lot for watching this. My workouts are going really well. I got to do some more reading for my class, and then do some assignments. But I hope you're all having a great time out there. Thanks a lot. And again, have a really super time.